I'm just building interesting shapes and connecting things as I go with this. There's going to be a really nice really warm accent dark down here. Or maybe not accent dark, just a little bit of a warmer dark, because there's a log in here up front, and there's a lot of reflected light on this one, so it's going to be very warm. The shape down there. And then since that snow on that log is getting so much light, it's going to be a little bit lighter in that reflected light area and a little bit warmer. We'll still have that cool plain at the top of it. And then there's a little bit of a darker area because there's some shapes blocking the light. The snow behind it is darker, so that will also help show the shape of that log and that snow by putting this darker passage behind it. It'll help reveal the log. And going a little darker in this foreground snow is also helping the sense of depth in this piece. There's a little bit of that darker shadow in the snow behind this log as well, helping reveal the form of it. That might be a little too much right there. And a little bit too far down with it. That shape. It's really starting to come together now that I'm getting some of the darks in the foreground. I still think I'm going to clean up quite a few of these shapes in here. It feels a little mushy, a little too vague in some of the areas, but I'm starting to like this really direct, thick paint that's starting to build up. Before I get to that, I'm going to add just that backlit log, add that little bit of light down in here. Just giving you just a nice little line right in here. I'll have to come back and adjust it just a little bit. It's a little too thick, but I want to get a nice amount of paint on there. There's just a little bit over here. It's really these really delicate shapes that you have to develop towards the end that really give it that character and bring it to life. Those really tiny pieces of light. They're very important to really pay attention to. Let's get a little darker in value. Oops, a little bit too dark. We can fix that. There we go. There we go. That's much better. Maybe just a little bit closer. Such a delicate shape. Trying to step back a lot too. Helps me get some distance from the painting and see it as a whole, as opposed to getting too focused in on little spots. It's a great habit to develop. It can be tricky though, because if you get too used to it and you forget something's behind you, or you're working in a different space. I've done it a lot where I just walk right back into something without expecting it, or tripping over people and they're passing behind you. So you have to be careful if you're jumping back and forth a lot. All right, it's really coming together now. Excited about this one. You can definitely see it as a very large piece. And really happy with this slightly warmer color to the piece and a little bit of the lighter shadows in the background. It's definitely fun. Each piece has its own character, but they're still very similar. And that's the beauty of painting outside and observing, because you really just can have so much fun working on just getting the color, the value, getting those reflected lights, and really studying the form of what you're painting. And then you can then take it back to the studio and do another piece the same size or slightly larger and just develop that idea further in another direction and experiment with it. And you don't have to be bound by what's in front of you. You can push things and pull things, move things around, use multiple references. The little plein studies are almost like it's almost like having a sketchbook and sketching a lot of different things. So you can take elements from multiple paintings, put them together, but it's just great to have all these little studies around in my studio, because I can look back and see how I painted something from life and how I observed it in the moment. And they're great as memories as well. So I think it's a really amazing thing to be able to get out and paint when you can. I've always found if I'm in a big slump or I just need something fun, if it's a nice day outside, I'll just pack up my stuff, do a little study, and I think it always, brightens my mood and just makes you appreciate life and how beautiful nature is, and just kind of being in the moment and being present. There we go. Just developing these areas just a little further. Having that nice slightly cooler color temperature behind the warmth shows the reflected light. That's a really neat effect right in there. That's really fun. It's always fun to have those little fun moments where something just works really well and comes together.